Hello and welcome to the final episode of Race for the White House, our daily show covering the US presidential election of 2024. On today's show, we tell you how the Democratic Party faces disarray after Kamala Harris's election defeat. We also try to understand why Harris lost so much support among minority voters in America. All of that and much more, so let's get started. The Democratic Party is reeling from a major election loss, sparking intense debates within the party about what went wrong and how to move forward. Kamala Harris lost to Donald Trump, which is a setback that many Democrats say they didn't see coming. The loss of the White House, the Senate, and possibly even the House of Representatives has left the Democrats searching for answers. Party leaders, lawmakers, and strategists are starting to analyze what exactly went wrong. Progressive figures like Senator Bernie Sanders argues that the party has lost touch with working-class voters. He warned that the Democratic leadership has become too influenced by big donors and consultants, leaving everyday people behind. Similarly, other progressives like Congressman Khanna and Congressman Jamaal Bowman point out mistakes in the party's messaging and approach. Moderates, though, have a different take. Representative Suozzi believes the Democrats focus too much on core base issues, alienating other voters in the process. He says that the party has to move away from extremism and listen to the concerns of everyday Americans. For many Democrats, the loss is more than just an electoral defeat. It's a wake-up call. Many feel the party is out of touch with key voter issues like the economy and immigration, which Trump emphasized effectively. Democrats largely focused on abortion rights and democracy, but those messages didn't resonate as deeply with voters. Democrats are also questioning decisions by their leadership, with some taking aim at figures like Democratic National Committee Chair Jamie Harrison and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, while others say that Harris was simply dealt a tough hand, running in the shadow of President Joe Biden's unpopularity. As Democrats reflect, they are divided on how to approach Trump's second term. Some argue that they need to be more strategic in opposing him, acknowledging that constantly attacking Trump in the past has hurt them with voters. The party now faces tough questions about its future direction. Some members believe the Democrats must reconnect with working-class voters, while others urge a firm stance on progressive issues. Many are left grappling with how to confront a resurgent Trump movement, fearing that this loss could signal a deeper, long-term decline for the Democrats. The loss of minority voter support was one of the big reasons behind Kamala Harris's election defeat. Harris lost support from Black, Latino, and Asian American voters in 2024, helping Donald Trump win. Now here's what drove this shift. Harris targeted Black voters, often campaigning with former President Barack Obama. However, exit polls showed that she only got 80% of the Black vote, down from Biden's 90% in 2020. Trump, meanwhile, took 20% of the Black vote, a big gain from his 13% in 2020. Among Black men under 45, Trump's support doubled to about 30%. Also, Hispanic American voters have shifted to the right. Harris received just over half of the Latino vote, while Trump picked up a 14-point gain. This was especially true among Latino men. Asian American voters also supported Harris, but moved rightward towards Trump by 5 points, with Trump now enjoying 39% of support with this demographic. Experts say that the economy was really key in them making this decision. Voters, particularly from swing states like Pennsylvania, said that high costs were at the top of their minds. They noted that prices were lower when Trump was president, making them look back on his time in office between 2017 and 2021 more favorably. Social issues, family values, and concerns about the southern border were also particularly important to Latino voters. Now, Kamala Harris's team focused on job creation and new industries like electric vehicles, but Republicans countered these arguments by arguing that these changes could harm traditional jobs. Post-pandemic inflation also left many feeling stretched, fueling voter frustration with the Biden administration. Lastly, some minority voters felt that the Democratic Party simply took their support for granted. This sense of being overlooked contributed to a growing shift towards Trump among Black, Latino, and Asian American voters in 2024. And now we turn to Geeta Mohan, who met up with Dr. Joseph Jalil in America to understand why Harris lost so much support from Indian Americans, a group that has largely voted solidly for the Democrats in the past.
Coming back to the Indians, you made a very important point. You say that a lot of them were Democrats, blue-leaning are now, or blue-registered are now red-leaning and are voting for. The ratio used to be 80% earlier. In the last election, I see the slight increase of Indian Americans voting Trump, and it's about 60-40. Are they looking at a 50-50
Even if it's a 50-50, that's okay. Because before, the problem was not just that Indians were antagonistic of the Democratic Party, but they usually never go out and they were not actuated. They would not, press the button. They go and stand behind the power. Of course, few people did. But that's changing now. We seem to have, it's sort of a, without a little bit of a neutral players. Our one candidate, that's when it's out. There are wonderful reasons behind it. But basically, I'm very captivated in every one of my speeches.
Just what a love for Trump, but hatred for Kamala.
I would assume that because there's some love for Trump because again the Out Humor event which started that trend that there is the summit that Trump and Modi are friends. So that started that's the and then when Kamala Harris ignored India as a vice president, she
Never traveled.
She never traveled.
Moving on, Kamala Harris conceded the election to Donald Trump on Wednesday, encouraging her supporters to remain hopeful and committed to democracy. She addressed a large crowd gathered at Howard University, her alma mater in Washington, D.C. Amid cheers and applause, Harris spoke passionately, emphasizing that while the campaign had ended, the mission behind it hadn't. "I can see this election," she said, "but not the vision we campaigned for." Her words sought to lift up her supporters, many of whom were visibly emotional. Now, in many ways, Harris's campaign had made history. As the first Black and South Asian woman on a major party ticket, she focused her message on unity, progress, and the promise of freedom for all Americans. Her campaign involved intense visits to key states, outreach to undecided voters, and numerous events to connect with the people directly. However, she did face challenges. Many voters had simply lost confidence in the Biden administration and wanted change, and though the Harris campaign remained hopeful to the end, Trump managed to build upon significant support nationwide. In her final message, Harris reached out to young people, urging them to stay engaged and keep working for the country's future. She assured them that setbacks are temporary and that moments of darkness can reveal the stars, symbols of hope and resilience. And to conclude, Harris reaffirmed the values of democracy and called for a peaceful transition of power. She also shared that she had called Donald Trump to congratulate him and that she and her team would ensure an orderly handover of power to Trump. And now we've got Rohit Sharma, our White House correspondent, to decode Kamala Harris's concession speech. Please watch.
America elected its next president yesterday, and Donald Trump will be America's 47th president. And today in Washington, D.C., a lot of things happened. First, President Biden issued a statement letting everybody know that he had congratulated Vice President Kamala Harris on a very hard-fought campaign, and he also picked up the phone to congratulate President-elect Donald Trump. Now, he also said in the same statement that he has invited President Trump to the White House. These are the standard operating procedures that usually happen after election. Vice President Kamala Harris, who skipped giving a speech at the Howard University last night, went back to Howard University today. She started her concession speech at 4 p.m., in which she talked about how important this race was. She started off by thanking her supporters, her voters, her family, her staff, and everybody on the campaign. She then let everybody know that she picked up the phone to call and congratulate President Trump on his victory. It was a tough speech for Vice President Kamala Harris. You could probably see her voice cracking at a few times.
In our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States. And loyalty to our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I am here to say, while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign.
She talked about how she only had about 107 days to run this campaign, and she did everything that she could to win this campaign. She made points such as that she's conceding this race, but not conceding on the issues that she fought for.
This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together.
This is very important. speech, one of the most important speeches of Kamala Harris, probably a historic campaign, the shortest campaign that we've seen in modern times. But she also talked about something she has been talking about on the campaign trail, the transfer of power.
Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
Remember, this is the same Kamala Harris. During the campaign, she had been saying that if she loses, America could well go to become a dictatorship, a tyranny. So it was pretty ironic that she had called Donald Trump and offered everything that she can do to make sure there is a peaceful transfer of power here in Washington, D.C. President Trump is now expected to come to Washington, D.C. He will be meeting up with President Biden, and they will charter the next path, which would be to make sure that the Trump's transitional team gets whatever it needs to set up its own administration that will start functioning after Trump takes oath on January 20th, 2025.
I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, but for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here's the thing, America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service. HU. And may that work guide us, even in the face of setbacks, toward the extraordinary promise of the United States of America. I thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. I thank you all.
And now it's time for some updates from American politics that you might have missed. President-elect Donald Trump has chosen Suozzi Wiles as his White House Chief of Staff. She's the first woman to hold this extremely powerful role, which comes with a seat in cabinet. Wiles led Trump's campaign in 2024 with precision and success, and many saw her as a top choice for the position. She stayed out of the spotlight and even declined to speak during Trump's victory celebration. This hire marks Trump's first big decision as president-elect and is the first major appointment for his new administration. While Wiles does not have a government background, she has a strong prior relationship with Donald Trump. Her new role will be critical as Trump builds up his administration. Trump's previous term saw high turnover among chiefs of staff, going through 4 during his first term in office. So, Wiles' appointment could be a defining step in his return to the White House. Moving on, Donald Trump's election has brought financial rewards for the world's richest people. According to Bloomberg's Billionaire Index, the world's 10 richest people saw historic increases in their wealth after Trump's election propelled the US stock market upwards. Elon Musk gained the most. A vocal Trump supporter, Musk's wealth grew by $26.5 billion, reaching $290 billion. Amazon's Jeff Bezos gained around $7.1 billion, and this came after the newspaper that he owns, the Washington Post, held back on endorsing Kamala Harris. Oracle's Larry Ellison, also a Trump supporter, added $5.5 billion to his net worth. Other billionaires, including Bill Gates, Steve Ballmer, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, and Warren Buffett, saw big gains too. While they didn't endorse a candidate, many have supported democratic causes in the past. And finally, Russian President Vladimir Putin congratulated Donald Trump on his recent election victory, describing him as a courageous figure. Speaking in the Russian city of Sochi, Putin remarked on the challenges Trump faced during his previous term. He also suggested that Trump's stated goal of ending the Ukraine conflict deserves consideration. While Trump has claimed he could end the war in a day, he has not yet explained his plan. And that wraps up our final episode of Race to the White House. Thank you so much for watching us over these past few months. As last farewell, we will leave you some visuals of Geeta Mohan, a woman on the ground in America, who is right outside an important New York landmark.
New York is known to be a tourist destination, but what are the tourist attractions? One such tourist attraction this time around is this building right behind me, the Trump Towers. Now, I'm seeing a lot of people who are walking by but stopping just to take a photograph, a picture with family by themselves, taking selfies right here outside the Trump Tower. So whether if one likes it or not, Donald Trump is a phenomenon, and he has changed how America votes. He has made history not just by becoming the first in over a century, the first president to serve a non-consecutive term, but look at how America has voted. He's won the popular votes, which means for all the messaging that was being put across by the Democrats that America is not Trump and Trump is not America, please go ahead, see what people are doing over here, stopping by, looking, just taking a photo with the Trump Tower in their backdrop. That clearly shows that he has made a mark, he has left a mark, but will he be able to leave a legacy behind? So this is the Trump Tower, and on the other side of the road, people continuing to come and take pictures. We'll try going in. There are a lot of stores inside, a lot of eateries. We'll go in to find out, are people here inside Trump Tower excited about Trump's win? This is how the fancy Trump Tower looks like, and we will go across maybe to some of the stores and maybe try speaking to a few people. A lot of them are coming in only to experience the Trump Tower, and here there is a flagship store. It says Save America, and you have all the merchandise. It is the Trump store, so you have all the merchandise over here, from t-shirts, mugs, towels, of course the entire golf set. With Trump, you know, it has to be the golf set. There you have the Trump grill right behind me, right there. And you have people sitting in restaurants. Let's go up to see. You have the American flags. It says, this is quite interesting. Look at the directory. It says Trump Store, Trump Cafe, Trump Suites, Trump Grill, and then the lobby. So, very interesting. And we'll go up and try finding out. It's been done very, very beautifully. There's a beautiful flag, the American flag, a huge one at that has been put up. That's the American flag. And this is the Trump Tower. And a lot of people excited have been coming up just to have a look and see and experience what the Trump Tower is all about. The people who are sitting in the bar, or they're sitting and just having a meal or enjoying themselves. I should try asking a few ladies, are they excited coming here to the Trump Tower? That's again how the Trump Tower looks. Moon signing off from the Trump Towers in New York.